I kind of made this problem up. Let's see how it works out. The numbers might be crazy. I don't even know. Okay, so here is a ball of clay and it's falling. And right before it hits the ground, it's moving downward with the speed of 5 meters per second. It collides with the ground and sticks. But during that collision, it actually ends up being crushed a little bit. So it's now 5 millimeters less thick. So I don't really care what D is. And I think that might be 2. That's fine. I'm sticking with it. I'm not going to stop. And it has a mass of 100 grams or 1.1 kilograms. So the question is, what's the force that the floor exerts on the clay? I'll call that F floor during this impact. Well, we're going to use the momentum principle. So the momentum principle says that the net force is equal to the change in momentum divided by the change in time. Now, we don't have the time, but that's okay. We can figure that out. We have the initial momentum and we have the final momentum. So let's write down vectors for the initial and final momentum. P1 is going to be equal to the vector 0.1, the mass, kilograms, times the vector 0, -5, 0 meters per second. It's mass times velocity, and this is the mass, and that's the velocity. And then P2 is the momentum after the collision, which is going to be 0.1 kilograms, the mass, times the vector 0, 0, 0 meters per second because it stopped. And so I know delta P, we can find that. Delta P, the vector, is going to be P2 minus P1, and that's going to be equal to, I can factor out the mass, 0.1 times this minus that. So I have 0 minus 0, it's going to be 0. 0 minus -5 is 5. 0 minus 0 is that. And then I can multiply it and I get 0.50 kilogram meters per second. That's my change in momentum. If I knew the time, I could find the force. I don't know the time, but I can find the time. So let's do this. Let's say V average is delta R over delta T. And now I'm going to just look at this in the y direction. So if I write this as a y equation, I can say V average y, because it only moves in the y direction, is the change in y over the change in time. It's also equal to Vy2 minus Vy1 over plus that over 2. That's the average, right? The average velocity is the initial velocity plus the final velocity divided by 2. And I know these values, right? I know the average velocity. It's going to be equal to -5 over 2 in the y direction. -5 over 2 meters per second. That's my average velocity as it collides. I know delta y. I know how far it traveled. It traveled -0.005 meters. So I know delta y is -0.005 meters. So now I can actually solve for delta t. So delta t is going to be equal to delta y times 2 over Vy2 plus Vy1. I'm running out of room. I apologize. That's totally my fault. I didn't want to start a new page. So this is going to be -0.005. Leave off the units, 2, and this is going to be equal to 5. So that's the time of the collision. So I know that as a number. I can do that in my head, but I'm going to do my calculator. There's my calculator. I don't like calculators, but I'd rather use Python, but I'm not going to because this is too simple. Put it right here. Okay. Clear. This is actually negative. So the negatives cancel. So I get 0.005 times 2 divided by 5. And that's 0.002 seconds. Right. Okay, so now I'm going back over here. I'm going to calculate the net force. It's going to be delta P over delta T. I already know the change in momentum. The change in momentum is that. So it's going to be the vector 0.50 kilograms meters per second divided by 0.002 seconds. And so now I have a vector, I guess it's multiplication, vector multiplication to a scalar times a vector, which is really division. So that's going to mean that I'm going to take 0 divided by 0.002, which is 0, 0.5 divided by 0.002, 250, 0 divided by that, and 0. And the units are going to be kilograms meters per second divided by seconds, which is a kilogram meter per second squared, which is a Newton. So I get, that's my force, the total force, the net force on the clay as it collides with the ground. Now, there's two forces on the clay. So as it's colliding, I'm going to put it as a flattened thing. I have the downward gravitational force, mg, and then I have the upward net floor. Let's find the force of the floor. So I can say this, F net is equal to this, 0, 250, 0. That kind of got messed up. It's even worse. F net vector is 0, 250, 0, and that's going to be equal to the force of the floor plus mg. And remember, g is the vector 0, negative 9.8, 0 newtons per kilogram. So I want to solve for this. So I can subtract this vector from both sides, and I get the force of the floor is equal to the vector 0, 250, 0 minus mg. Now be very careful here. This is minus a vector, and g has a negative component. That's fine. Okay, let's do this as a number, 0, 250, 0 minus the mass, 0.1. That was my mass, right? Yeah, 0.1. 0.1 times 9.8. So I'm going to write this as negative 0, negative 0.98. That would be 0.1 times 9.8, 0. So now if I get a negative of a negative, I'm going to get 0, 2, 5, 0, 0.98, 0 newtons. And you see something really important here. During this collision, I drew it poorly. There is a gravitational force on it, but because the change in momentum is so short in time, it takes such a short time, the force from the floor is so much greater than the force of gravity. And in fact, if you ignored the force of gravity and you just said the force of the floor was 250, that wouldn't be a bad idea. It would work fairly well. Now, if the collision took over a longer distance, then it would matter. But in this case, that's the impact force of the floor. And so we didn't even know the time, but we could figure it out by using average velocity, and that's the key.